who I am. This is where I finally take my stand. I didn't want to fall, but I don't have to draw. I'm not the one with two-star hands, giving him the best of everything that's left of the life inside this man. I've been born again. This is who I am.
All right, you ready?
Ready to roll.
All right. Hey, everybody. This is Eddie Huff with David Van. We're Zooming today.
Yeah.
And as you can tell, I'm in a hidden bunker somewhere. I used to love that. You remember Mark Levine?
Oh, yeah.
That he
Now,
was in his bunker below Manhattan or someplace.
Well,
so
actually, and that was the intro from the Ollie North show, which preceded him. You know, Levin replaced Ollie North.
Oh, that's what I didn't know. See, there you go. You're the man. That's why
there's that kind of pseudo militaristic kind of opening, because the Marine Ollie North.
Funny. That's funny. That's good. Well, anyway, but hey, Dave, how are you? Welcome. Good to see you.
Despite the battle scars, I'm doing fine.
Good. Yeah, good to see all of our friends. Hopefully, we can't see you, but you can see us and hear us. This Fresh Black Coffee episode. Hey, I have been in Southern California, working my way back, so I'll be home soon. But so far, I haven't run into any issues. Of course, see, I was in Northern California at first.
Yeah.
Then Southern California. The only issue I've run into is the gas prices. Oh my goodness!
Is that right?
I paid $4.95 the other day.
Ouch.
$4.95. Yes.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I mean, it's unbelievable, people. 400 feels like 409. Can you imagine? I remember the last trip I took, where did we go? I think we went to Texas.
Yeah.
And we stopped, and I ran into, next to me comes this motorhome, giant, full on, big tour bus looking motorhome. And it was like, even then the guy was complaining because to fill his, I was able to fill my vehicle for like $20 or something.
Oh yeah.
And his was like $200.
Oh.
Now out here it would be at least $500 to $1,000. I mean, it's insane. I don't know how the people do it. I don't know how they can do it.
Eddie, if I were you, I'd tell your kids out in the West Coast that that's their Christmas present, is you spend all the money on gas to come see them.
That's true. That's true, Dave. Oh, man. But anyway, hey, let's get right into it. What's up this week? What's up with you? What's going on back there?
Well, I took a couple of visits to my friendly dermatologist and got the liquid nitrogen treatment on a couple spots, and as you can see, I had to go back for going to the scalpel. And let me tell you, the days of hat wearing enforcement got a lot tighter, and I regret the decades of the sun damage that's been done to my fair skin. Now, see, this is where your black privilege comes in. You're not as susceptible as I am.
Well, yeah, I'm only half as susceptible.
Hey, I'll take any pigment I can get right now.
I'll tell you, when I was a kid, I used to burn bad. I used to get burned off. Oh, yeah. My shoulders, mainly on my shoulders, because I'd be out in the sun all the time. I mean, I'd be black as night. And I was in the sun so long. Yeah. So, but it's funny, interesting thing, because I used to be really, really fair-skinned.
Oh, yeah.
And I've realized that the longer and the more you're in the sun and the darker you get, it retains it. Your pigment retains it. So I've gotten darker. I've aged, like aging a fine wine. My coloring has aged. I've become more beautiful, blacker and more beautiful. If black is beautiful, I've become more beautiful.
I've got several family friends who are, have some African genetics in them, and they've said the same thing. One said, my daughter was as fair skinned as could be when she was younger, and now, she's in her 20s and looks every bit African as anyone else. It's so, I guess it's that accumulative thing. It just, So,
yeah. So
anyway,
your
it's God's
problem
gift,
is
Eddie.
in Minnesota, you didn't get enough sun in your youth.
Yeah, I know.
Or you'd be a
Well,
little, you'd be a
yeah,
little
no,
more
with
beautiful.
me,
You'd be a little
this
kind of
this
semi.
is too much sun damage.
Well, no, I understand. I did have one of those on my lip and he froze it off.
Yeah.
So no, those things, yeah, you got to watch it. I mean, I've become very tuned to the acuteness of skin cancers. They can really be bad if you're not careful.
The real deadly one is melanoma, which this is not. And then squamous cell, which is a more surface scabby kind of thing, that I had a couple burnt off. This one is basal cell, and much like yours, I think yours is probably in the pre-cancerous stage where they could still freeze it off. And she told me, no, this is not precancerous. This is basal cell carcinoma.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Hey, I want to make the announcement.
Yes.
We talked about it a little bit.
Yes.
The book is not only finished, it's available.
All right.
It may take you a little bit to get it, but it is available. You can get it on Amazon.
Yes.
Just type in "Y'all Have Sinned." Y''ALL. Short for you all. Y'all
reject that negative confession, Eddie.
Yeah, y'all, not me. Y'all. And just if that doesn't get you right there on my computer, it takes me right to the page. If that doesn't take you right there, you can add Eddie Huff to it, and it'll get you there. So, man, it's been a haul. It's funny because this thing's been 30 years in the works.
So, Eddie, a person can order that on Amazon, and once they get their confirmation, just print that off, stick it in a Christmas card, and say, your gift's on the way, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, I had some copies sent to my kids.
Yeah.
And that was like the next day after it came out, Wednesday night, it hit Amazon all of a sudden. And then I ordered some copies, and then I got it there. It'll arrive the 28th. Now, anything else, if I want to.
You remind me of Job. Send all his kids a book. Y'all have sinned,
I didn't even think of that.
Read the first chapter of the book of Job. You'll get the significance.
Yeah. I didn't even think of that. Let's hope they don't have a party together and lightning or earthquake comes or whatever.
Yeah.
I can't remember now. A tornado, I think it was, that blew them all away and killed them all. But
and Eddie, that's kind of a tongue-in-cheek title, right? I mean, the message you're trying to say isn't as bluntly straightforward. Is that right?
Right. The subtitle is how blaming others is not a winning strategy.
Yes.
And the book, it's an interesting book because there's a lot of commentary, but there's a lot of historical fact, and there's a lot of things that you didn't know about slavery, slavery worldwide, slavery in America, about critical race theory, how slavery began in America. That's a big one. That'll just blow your mind when you actually find out how the first slave case in America, where first person that became a permanent slave in the South.
Right.
It'll blow your mind. And then, of course, the most controversial chapter is the one where I deal with Martin Luther King Jr. And I'm not going to spoil, but that chapter alone, I think that's the one that's going to probably give me the most heat when I discuss that.
Okay.
And then, but anyway, it just deals. I go historically. I go, wow. I go back to Israel. The main crux, like how I began it, I show the resemblance or the similarities between the children of Israel and Black Americans.
Sure.
In that Joseph, you go back to Joseph. Joseph was sold into slavery by his brothers. African slaves were sold into slavery by their brothers. Joseph became the chief of Potter's house during Reconstruction. Black Americans, ex-slaves, became, they were mayors, senators, congresspeople, sheriff. They were running towns in the South. Whether they should have been or not, it's another issue, but they were. But then came Jim Crow, just like Joseph ended up back in jail, in prison, actually, this time, rather than a slave in Potter's house. Jim Crow was similar to that. And yet Joseph rose to the top of Jewish or Egyptian power. Black Americans have risen to the top of American power. But then from there, that's where the real difference occurs. And that's what I want people to understand and see then a pattern.
Eddie, I want to segue into something that came up in the news as to do that, because when you start saying y'all is sin, you know, there's something that says you reap what you sow. When you start judging others, you're going to get judgment in return. Here's a meme I just put up. Joe Biden just publicly gave Aaron Rodgers, that's the quarterback of the Green Bay Packers, a personal health directive saying, you need to get vaccinated. Well, it seems fair then that we give Joe Biden some advice on his personal health, right? And my thing is, Joe, you really want to start talking to other people about their health care needs.
Especially the mental health care needs of Joe
Exactly.
Biden.
It's time for memory care, Joe.
I'll tell you what I think is going on with Joe Biden. I think a big part of this is his wife.
Yeah.
Dr. Joe Biden.
Yes. The education doctor.
The non-medical doctor,
yes.
Joe Biden. It's like me. You remember when I was with Pat Campbell, we used to discuss how I was a doctor of Astrophysics.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Astrophysics.
Astrophysics. Yeah, that was my major. It's kind of like Dr. Joe Biden's doctorate.
Right. Yeah. She's got an academic doctorate.
Right. Yeah. And so my doctorate is in Astrophysics. And so, and I'm very proud of that. So from now on, you may call me Dr. Huff. Dr. Edward Huff, like Dr. Joe Biden.
Yeah, whatever happened. I mean, we've gotten so lazy with the way we use terminology. Like doctor or a doctorate does not mean you're a physician. Veteran does not mean you were in the military. Native American does not mean you're a tribal member. But yet we throw those around that way.
Yeah. You know, what's interesting about that, Dave. It seems that the non-medical doctors are the ones who are the most pompous with their doctor.
Oh God, yeah.
Like my doctor, I call them by their first name.
Yeah.
Joe, Bill. Hey, Bill, how are you doing? Hey, you, Eddie. Da, da, da. You know,
Thank
hey,
you.
Sam. You know, Susie, Jane, Jim. They know who they are.
Mm-hmm.
Right? I mean, they know, it says on the sign, you know, that's their profession.
Yeah.
And so, but these people with these PhDs, some are the worst, man. PhDs, doctors of theology.
Yeah.
You know, there's you go to ORU. Oral Roberts is among the worst. Those guys.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know,
they're overcompensating.
Oh, yeah. I mean, what I like to say, like in the case of Joe Biden or something, be like me with my Astrophysics. PhD stands for phony doctor. Phony doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And
no, I put together a business card. You know, I don't have any degrees in psychology. I've been trained by NAMI to do some things, and you know, mostly I just put into practice and start doing things nobody else is willing to do for free. Mm-hmm. So when I started as president of NAMI, I started advocating at the legislature. I put together a business card, and one of my colleagues suggested I put the initials NIAMN, David Van Rissegem, NIAMN.
Which stands for?
No initials after my name.
You know, it's like somebody will see that and think you're important.
Exactly.
No initials after my. That's a good one. That's a good one. Yeah. It's silly that people seem to feel this need to, like, for example.
Yeah.
And I don't know. Well, you're a reverend, right? You were actually a pastor, weren't you?
I've been ordained. Yeah.
Yeah. Same here.
Yeah.
You know, but I never wanted that reverend title. I don't, because, well, what did Jesus say? What did Jesus say, right?
Yeah.
Master, rabbi, you know, he said, you don't want to, you know, don't.
That's right.
Going around calling yourself that.
Yeah.
And that's how, you know, we have one Lord, one master. And so what's so funny, it's another thing, you know, nowadays, it's not just in the Black church, everything trickles over or you know, floats over. But remember, you used to have pastors, reverends, then you went to bishop, you know, bishop, all these bishops, you know, everybody's a bishop now.
Yeah.
And now the later, the apostle.
Apostle, yeah.
Apostle,
Yeah.
Apostle David Van Rizzo, yeah. Apostle Edward Huff, you know. I mean, come on, people, you know, get over yourselves. You know, get over yourself. Just,
if you're busy, you know, I mean, doing it, you don't have to tell people.
No, think about it. You've got Joel Osteen has umpteen thousand people. I just talked to a brother, friend of mine, who's in San Antonio at what's his name? Who's in the Hagee? John Hagee.
John Hagee.
20-some thousand. You know, you got these giant mega people, and it's John Hagee. You know, when it's whatever the show is with Joel Osteen, with John, it's not. Yeah. Not even Reverend John Hagee, not even Pastor John. It's just with John Hagee. Yeah. So it's almost like the bigger they are, the less they need to be important. And you got these guys that may have a church with 50 people, and he's the apostle all of a sudden. Right. He's a, you know, and then you got the prophets and the prophetesses. Oh, you know, and prophetess. So it's this. It seems to be this need. It's a I think it's a poor self-esteem is what it is. It's a poor self-image.
Yeah, you know, I was talking to a guy, blue collar guy, not a man of any particular wealth, but he's thinking of running for the legislature. And he right away has got to go get his picture taken with his nicest, fanciest suit and everything. The funny thing is, when the millionaire decides to run for office, he wears just a shirt and slacks. He doesn't need to look important. In fact, he has to overcompensate to relate to the average blue collar guy.
Right.
You know, so yeah, we do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So,
well, how about news this week?
Well, I got some newsies. Yeah.
Joe Biden is, you know, it's like I don't know. It's the weirdest thing. It's like, people are elevating Vice President Harris. I can't even think of her name all of a sudden. That's how insignificant she is in my mind. Yeah. Kamala. They're elevating, but they're elevating her so they can shoot her down. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's coming out that she thinks of herself as president, or they're trying to put her forth as such, but at the same time, they're trying to get rid of her. And, yes, they are. And Joe Biden is basically insignificant. So, I mean, our country, it's like a ship that's bad enough being wild across. It's a scary, I mean, we're in a scary state right now. We're in the rudder.
I've got to start shutting down some. Are you able to hear me?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah. You hear me?
All right.
Yeah. It's like
I minimized my browser. All of a sudden you're back.
Oh, well, that's nice.
People don't realize what work you and I went into to get going today. I mean, our computers have been on strike this morning. But
anyway, I don't know if you heard the last part. Essentially, that Kamala Harris is being built up to be torn down. Yeah, and it's like they're coming out with the fact that she basically is or thinks she's in charge, and yet they're trying to get rid of her. Nobody likes her. I mean, they finally figured out they chose a person that people don't like. And Joe Biden is essentially incapable of running the country. He's a joke, which, I mean, listen, I don't say that proudly. I mean, it's sad. That's what I was saying. It is. Our nation right now is a rudderless ship. And I'll rehash in case it didn't pick up. It's like the Titanic without a captain. Yeah. It's bad enough with a captain, but just imagine if the ship's flying across the ocean it would have run probably head on instead of just a side swipe of the ship. Could have just
No
run
doubt.
head on into an iceberg. So we really need to be in some prayer for our nation.
Absolutely. Yeah. Right now, the latest I'm hearing is the Russians and Chinese are colluding to come up with an international currency alternative to the US dollar, which if that happens,
alternative to the euro and the dollar.
Yeah. Which if that happens, I mean, the honeymoon's over. We're back to the soup lines in America. Because the only thing keeping us afloat is the fact that the global international markets need to keep the dollar afloat.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's sad. I think it's rather immoral what we're doing, Yeah,
the way to handle there's a simple way to handle this. I've mentioned it before, and that is again to just cut off imports. In other words, okay, you guys try to survive because we have all the food, we have all the energy, we have all of the manufacturing. We essentially have everything we need to be self-contained, whereas we don't need to import. So good luck Germany buying from China, good luck Russia buying from China, and so forth. And China needs those US dollars. But honestly, Dave, that's the only way we can do it.
Yeah. Well, it's going to take some time to fire back up our electronics industry. I mean, we've outsourced all of that. I think the technology is here. It's started here in many ways, but it's been farmed out for so many decades.
Right. But I don't think it would take a minute. Put Elon Musk in charge. We'll have Elon Musk and Jeff Bezos, have them competing with each other. I mean, that's how you need these two. The chance who can go the farthest into space, the fastest with the most people. And it's kind of a funny thing to watch, but this is how America became what America was originally. It wasn't, the Russians and Chinese are trying to do it government run, government sponsored, and they're pushing their people. Whereas what we've got is individuals doing free enterprise. And if we set it loose, I'll tell you what, we eat their lunch. We would still eat their lunch. I'm convinced of that. But social justice, political correctness, this girl didn't get a promotion, so now her supervisor looked at her or didn't speak to her. I mean, stupid stuff. I mean, and now the lady, I don't know if you follow a team out of Florida that fired their coach because in the midst of the playoffs, this is past. This is a couple of years ago. In the midst of the playoffs, one of the players says he was had an advance had been made against him from another player in the shower. So I don't know where it happened, but in any event, this guy made a homosexual advance and this guy didn't want it. He told the coach, and the coach said, "Hey, I'm sorry, but we're in the middle of the playoffs. I'm focused on this. Let's put this aside for now and focus on winning a championship," which honestly is what coaches used to be. I mean, the coach used to say, "Okay, you two take it outside."
Don't tell me about it. I don't want to see it.
Go settle it. Go settle it. Guy touched you. What? Did you smack him back? I mean, honestly, that's how it used to be.
Yeah.
Did you punch him out?
Yeah.
But now, the guy was probably afraid to, and so all of a sudden the coach didn't report it, didn't do anything, and he got fired. And he's a Stanley Cup winning coach. I mean,
wow.
I mean, this is the kind of stuff that's going on. And you think it's bad in athletics. I mean, look at corporate entities, the CEOs are just kind of hamstrung. Now, okay, let me say this while I'm at it. There are some pigs out there. There's some coaches that are pigs, okay? They're players that are pigs. I mean, there are CEOs that are pigs, dirtbags.
Yeah.
And we should deal with them. I mean, if they're predatory and so forth, and trying to use it, the old casting couch, you know, Hollywood's probably the worst. You know, you got the casting. I mean, for years back when I was in college, I knew guys, and shortly after that, knew if you went out as a Black person anyway, you know, you almost had to be gay. I mean, it got to a point where the gay Black thing was so big in the arts and media that you know, it was just, I mean, it was just understood. Nobody made a big deal of it. Now they had to find something new to make a deal out of it. And so it's just our nature. Again, the rudderless ship, rudderless ship from the top down. And the problem is we try to pick a good captain, and what the people, no, we don't want him, we got to get rid of him. We like a rudderless ship.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hey, I've been doing a lot of writing this week, a lot of news stories, and I think I came across my most hated news story in all the years.
Most hated.
Then most hated. Now, you know, we're 2 years in and starting our third year of the whole COVID era, right? So, but we've learned a number of things over the last 2 years. There's things we didn't know, you know, 22, 21, 20 months ago that we know now. Well, get this. I wrote a story. The headline is that Oklahoma's COVID crisis is made worse by obesity. I ought not have talked about Oklahomans' obesity, Eddie. You know, now Oklahoma now has the 6th greatest death rate impact on our state of any of the 50 states. We're number 6. We're right above New York in actual percentage of our state population that has died. Okay. So yeah, and this is according to the John Hopkins database they've been running for some time. Well, Eddie, guess what else we're number 6 in? Obesity.
Obesity.
Yes. And guess what else we're number 6 in? Shortest lifespan of any of the 50 states. Okay. Now, tell me, is it coincidence? All right. Here's my problem. Now, there's a lot of things the federal government's trying to tell us to do to take over responsibility for our health, right? But have you once heard Dr. Fauci talk about, hey, lose a pound a week? No, they haven't talked about it.
A pound a week is a little tough.
That is. In fact, that's kind of at the maximum that they want you to lose in a week. I mean, as far as healthy weight loss.
Right.
But if a person was, say, 150 pounds overweight 21 months ago, they would have lost 90 pounds by now, had they been able to do a pound a week. So it's, you start dropping till you reach your optimal weight that you're comfortable with, that you're willing to take the risks, you know, and still store up enough for the next famine, you know. So, but anyway, Eddie, my God, you'd think that I, you know, condemned every Oklahoman is a horrible person, you know. And Eddie, I just want to say something the preacher once told me. He says, you throw a brick at a pack of dogs, it's the one that got hit that does the squawking. Yeah.
You know, as you may have noticed, I was busy over here while you were talking. I was busy going to my worldometers. This is the go-to stats, worldwide stats, and it shows Oklahoma number 12.
Okay.
And Mississippi is number 1, Alabama, New Jersey, Arizona, Louisiana, New York is number 6.
Well,
Arkansas is ahead of us. Georgia is ahead of us. Florida is ahead of us. West Virginia, Massachusetts. Those are all the states that are ahead of Oklahoma on the mortality, deaths as a result of COVID.
On number, right? But when you take percentage,
no, that is the percentage.
Okay,
because it's deaths per million. So I mean, you just do the math and it's percentage. Okay,
right.
So we're number 12.
Yes, and I would say I wrote this, you know, a little over about a week ago, and they said, look, these numbers are fluctuating. You know, we're getting reports.
Well, 12 is the highest I've ever seen us.
Yeah.
So I don't know how. I mean, I don't check it. I haven't checked it in a while. I just know I was always hearing these numbers, but I always go to Worldometers, and it's worldometers.net is the site, and it's got the whole worldwide numbers. It's got total cases, new cases, total deaths. It's got new deaths, total recovered, active cases, total cases per million. We're number 20 on 20 or 24 on cases per million.
Cases, yes. Right. Cases were not doing that bad, but deaths per 100,000.
Our deaths per million.
And
this is per million. So, and then deaths per million again. And then, of course, total tests and tests per million and our total population. So those are the parameters they use. So, I mean, I don't know. I will agree obesity is a problem, you know. And as you notice, this video only shows me from here. Well, here's the problem with some of the obesity stats. Okay.
Yeah.
There's obesity, and then there's morbid obesity.
Yes.
The morbidly obese is because honestly, I'm 6 foot and maybe a half inch, 6.5, let's say. Okay. And I'm supposed to weigh 185 pounds. But, I'm sorry, take that. 165. 165, which is, you know, I mean, that's almost 100 pounds less than I weigh.
Yeah, that's doable at age 22, Eddie.
Yeah. Well, and here's the other thing they don't keep in mind. You can't go by the height weight, because you can have a bodybuilder, the muscle weight. Yeah. Like you look at Pat Campbell when he was like, you know, he was a lot of solid muscle. And he was probably, I think Pat was 5'7". Okay. Yeah. Oh. So, you know, and I'm sure weighed at least 210. Oh yeah. Now he would have been considered probably morbidly obese, but he wasn't. And well, you know, Arnold Schwarzenegger, remember how heavy he was, but he was a smaller guy. And so, like I said, I agree with you that we need to do a better job eating healthy, exercising, and so forth. Just in general, forget COVID. Look at heart disease, diabetes. Now I bet you if you look at the cases of diabetes in Oklahoma, it's really high, and it's particularly high in the Black community. Diabetes, and it's because there's so much excessive weight, and but it's a tough one, Dave. It really is a tough one. Yeah, trying to get people. It's so funny how quickly we can gain weight and how difficult it is to lose. Oh yeah. So as they used to say, the struggle is real, and I really feel for those people who have an issue with their obesity. You know, and I was careful to write in this. I mean, let's face it. I know people, and you probably know people that have some serious mental health issues that they're trying to keep under check. But in order to do so, they have to take medication. It's almost impossible not to be putting on serious weight. And some of those people are actually court ordered to be taking that medicine. Here's the other one. You never smoked. I did smoke. And my parents smoked, and they quit. We all quit. Everybody quit. You almost always put on 20 pounds when you quit smoking. Yeah. Sure. For some reason. I mean, it's just it happens, you know, I guess because I don't know if it's the oxygen, I don't know what's going on in the world, but for some reason, you know, you just blow up. You tend to put on that extra weight, which is a tough thing. So it's interesting that in Oklahoma, there's such a push to stop smoking. You know, all the commercials about stopping smoking, but then we end up with these people that are overweight. So no, it's a tough deal. COVID. I know one person. You know him, Bruce DeLay. Yes. Just passed away from COVID. Yeah. That was a big shock. He was a real lot. He's the one that got me started on radio. Yeah. You know, as a guest on his program, he passed away. You got Pat Campbell that passed away. So, of course, no, it wasn't COVID. Bruce was COVID. Pat wasn't. But there are others we know that have passed away from COVID, and so it's not like we haven't personally been touched by the illness, but at the same time, there's I don't know. It's just strange. You know, my son and his wife were both vaccinated. They both got COVID.
Yeah.
His mother-in-law and others have been vaccinated, got COVID. There's a lot of that going on. Oh,
yeah.
That's one thing I want to discuss. We got a little time here.
Yeah.
Omicron.
Yeah.
Omicron. It's unbelievable how they're treating Omicron. You would think Omicron is like COVID and, you know, on steroids or something.
Yeah.
And basically Omicron.
That'll sure kill you.
Yeah. It's kind of like the 3-day flu or something, you know. I mean, people, it just burns through.
Yeah.
It's a cold. It's a cold.
Yeah.
And just because something is named COVID does not mean it's deadly. Right.
I mean, the COVID is a coronavirus. Guess what else is? The common cold is a coronavirus.
Exactly. The poor South Africans, you know, that's another issue we can talk about. How they were always trying to paint Trump a racist because he banned these 5 countries, basically. He banned 5 countries. I think one of them may have been a sub-Saharan African country. The rest were all Middle Eastern and other, right? And so now Biden has basically banned people coming in from these other, from South Africa in particular, in different countries. So who's the racist here? You know, and yet the media says nothing about it.
Wasn't he the one that accused Trump of being racist for blocking China in February?
That's right. Call it the China virus, right? Now we've got Omicron coming from South Africa. Yeah.
So I tell you what, Joe Rogan had an explosive podcast a couple of weeks ago. Well, actually, it was this last week. He had Peter McCullough, a doctor from who's an editor of a medical journal from Dallas, and he's blown it wide open on so many things. Lately, I've been seeing all kinds of conservative radio picking up his interviews and stuff. I tell you what, we are about to start blowing some myths wide open, and heads are going to roll, folks.
Hopefully.
Yeah.
Hopefully, beginning with Lord Fauci.
Yeah. Well, and just last night, the guy who was the inventor of the mRNA class of vaccines. Now, he did not create the COVID vaccines,
right,
but years ago, you know, in fact, he won a Nobel Prize for some of the work he's done. But they asked him about the Omicron. He said, 10 people have died worldwide from the Omicron variant? He said, you really think we need to crack down all of open society because 10 people in the world died?
Yeah, when we've got all these other things that we're neglecting now, and people are dying, a lot of them still, I guarantee, are not COVID related.
Yeah. So
no, Omicron is a sham, and it'll leave from Omicron to what's next. Phi, I guess the letter Phi is next. Omicron Phi or Pi.
Yeah, Pi's next, right?
Pi's next, and then Phi, I guess, or it'd be Phi Pi, whatever.
Okay.
Yeah, we're working our way to Zeta.
Yeah.
By the way, that's another thing I wanted to discuss. Do you know how it ended up being called Omicron? You know how that happened? It's because the people at Fox News were calling it Omnicron.
Oh, okay.
And rather than go all the way, and they were still some of them were still having a hard time.
Yeah.
And so they figured take the, we'll take the N off and we'll make it Omicron. But if you go to the dictionary, it's clearly enunciated Omicron.
Right.
In fact, the way they say Omicron.
Yeah, it's the Greek.
I knew it because I had to learn the Greek alphabet when I was pledging fraternity.
Yeah, Greek letter O, followed by the Greek letter P.
In the military, if you ever look, anybody that's been in the military, when they're using Greek, this is Delta Bravo, Omicron. It's Omicron. So that's why it was real. But you still got Fox News people pushing this Omicron or Omicron. See, even I can. So, but anyway, that's just a small deal. but it's just kind of sad the way South Africa has been portrayed as this haven of, it's almost like, you know, they're sending Ebola to the world, you know.
Hey, did you hear that the great pharmaceutical giant and savior of the world, Merck, just announced that they have canceled their clinical study of ivermectin. Now, they are the world's biggest manufacturer, evidently, of ivermectin, but they decided to scrap the test of ivermectin's effectiveness on COVID-19. They said because they had a hard time getting a supply of the medicine. The biggest manufacturer in the world. Okay, now get this. And
wait, back up a second. So they make ivermectin?
Yes.
And they can't get any ivermectin?
That's the reason they said, yes. Now, they were doing it in partnership with Harvard Medical School. Right. And get this, they were accepting for people in the study, people who've had COVID for up to 14 days. Well, the whole point of the study is early outpatient treatment before they're so bad off they got to go to the hospital.
Right.
In fact, this is another thing Peter McCullough said to Joe Rogan was, he says, there hasn't been a single paper released on early outpatient treatment protocols. It's all been hospital protocols. And you're on your own. You got nothing from the medical community worldwide unless you actually go in the hospital. Right. That's how bad the medical community worldwide has let down the people of the world. Oh, yeah. It's horrible.
It is.
It's malpractice.
I mean, you talk about blood on your hands.
Yes.
I mean, these people, it's.
Yeah. Oh, you know. Another thing Merck said, we decided to put our resources into a new medicine we're developing for it. Hello, patent protection, exclusivity, dollars. They don't want to show that a generic drug is the savior of mankind.
Same with hydroxychloroquine.
Yes.
So cheap, you know, it's you can buy, you know, bottles of it for
right. The interesting thing we found here, those are two medicines that are anti-parasitic that are also working against this class of virus. Yeah. I think that's a huge development to find that out.
That should give you a hint on where to start.
Yes.
That there's something that, is this a parasitic virus?
Yeah.
Or is the virus a parasite? You know, yeah. I mean, it gives us enough to go on. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, Eddie, 40 years ago, somehow by accident, they found out an anti-epileptic seizure drug actually treated what at that time they called manic depressive. We now call bipolar disorder. Mm-hmm. As soon as they found that out, they started several classes of anti-seizure medications, and about half of them actually had some effectiveness with bipolar. We make these, this is what we call off-label. This is the importance of innovating in the local medical clinic, the primary care doctor, actually using off-label medications. Because sometimes the greatest breakthroughs in science worldwide happen because some country doctor decided to go off-label.
Did you hear where they found, Viagra is now used for heart disease?
I've heard that.
Yeah, and so now they're starting to prescribe it to women.
There you go.
But it's supposed to, I mean, the people that had heart issues and men initially, it was just discovered as all of a sudden these guys were taking it for other reasons, obviously, but all of a sudden their heart conditions were improving. So now all of a sudden Viagra is great for what, and it would make sense because what is it basically used for? Blood flow.
Yeah,
it just increases your blood flow. It may direct it to a certain portion of your body, but if somebody can take it and increase its effectiveness to have your blood flow throughout your body.
Yes.
I mean, wow, there's so many things that we have medicines currently that can be used for other things if somebody would just.
Well,
and of course,
ivermectin, the Chinese doctors found that out because all of a sudden they had this like 200 patients happen to be taking it and got COVID along with several hundred, tens of thousands of people. And what do you know? They survived.
right.
Now, they had been taking it as a maintenance medication. In other words, it ended up being an early treatment for them. They had it built up in them.
Do you have yours? Do you have your supply?
No, I don't.
Me either.
Oh, that leads me to another story I made this week.
Uh-oh.
The post office, in conjunction with the FDA, just sent a letter to a guy. I got it because his attorney posted it on Twitter, that his shipment from Africa, I think it was from Kenya or Uganda, shipment of human ivermectin was seized in order to be destroyed by the post office in New York. And here's the reason they gave. They said, we consulted with the FDA, and they said, since the instructions for human dosage were not in the proper FDA-approved format, it is deemed banned because it's dangerous to the American public. Yeah, that's on Sooner Politics as well this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, Dave, it's crazy stuff. I mean, we just need to pray. We need to pray. We need to pray earnestly. Hey, well, listen, Christmas is just right around the corner, right?
It is. It is.
Wow. You doing anything special? You're going to see family, right?
Yeah, I got family here. We're doing a get together, and then sometime over the next several weeks during an undescript time, I admit, Eddie, I will be out of town, but I have guard dogs and several relatives that might be watching my home. And
after
I know
our last discussion.
I know you watched last week's show or 2 weeks ago show. Yeah. Now, Eddie, by the time we publish this, you'll probably be home or almost home. So
right.
The fact that you're in another town right now, in another state.
I know that's what's kind of funny, but oh, that's funny, Dave.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I just want to say this. Hopefully we can get another showing before the end of the new year.
Yeah.
But I do want to say that it's been a real pleasure.
Yeah.
And great encouragement to me to have you come alongside me to do Fresh Black Coffee. And the one negative thing I would say, not about you, but about our program, is that I don't feel it has progressed the way that I feel it could have.
Mm-hmm.
So my endeavor for the new year, my resolution, is to take Fresh Black Coffee to a new level.
All right.
I want us to really get in, hit hard, have more guests, really good guests, great guests, increase the aesthetics of it as well. See, I love your little background by you advertising little Sooner Politics right there. Yeah. And your flag, all that subliminal stuff. You got the Statue of Liberty right there, The only thing missing is a photo of me hanging right over your left shoulder.
There you go. Well, Eddie, we're already now innovating. This is our first show between you and me on this format of doing Zoom.
I haven't thought about it,
And so
we'll see.
Eddie, I'd like for people to just send emails into you, their advice of what would you like to see more of? What would make the show better? What's the email you use? Fresh Black Coffee at
Gmail.
Yep.
Fresh Black Coffee at Gmail.
Yeah. Right. No, Eddie, I've been honored. I mean, to me, you are, one of the legacy and standards by which we judge conservative Oklahoma radio. And you've spent years in, to be asked to come in here, be your sidekick and whipping boy, I'll put up with that.
Hey, you better be careful because you see my head is already big enough. It barely fits. It barely fits in this frame. So if it gets any bigger, I'll need to sit in the other side of the room. No, seriously, it's been fun. It's been good. And I just wanted to get better and really start. So that's my goal for 2022.
Yeah.
To take this to a whole new level. I mean, you know, do some investigative reporting and everything.
Yeah.
David.
I want to say, Eddie, I mean, I've called you out occasionally on slight hypocrisies where I wanted to get a dig in, but I want to say to everybody out there, Eddie's a genuine deal. You get what you see on screen is what you get with Eddie in person, and he lives what he talks about and has for years. You know, his wife's a saint, there's no doubt, but anyway, as is mine, you know.
Yeah, they have to be, don't they?
But yeah, we're both family men. Family means a lot to us. I mean, that's why, you know, you've been making the rounds last couple of weeks, and why I'm about to and stuff. And so yeah.
Oh yeah, we're, you know, we've been blessed. I mean, think about our kids. Your son and has just doing incredibly well. I don't know about, you know, the rest of your kids. I mean, you know, mine, I mean, that's what we hope for, you know, my parents, neither one of, my mother never even went past high school. Or she never went to high school. Let me put that. She got part of a 9th grade education. My dad, high school. And then, you know, I got college. I have one with a master's now, and 3 out of 4 with, you know, with their degrees. I mean, it's a normal thing. You know, that's the new baseline, right? The new baseline. Yeah. That's what you hope for. And then for the next, for their kids then to take it, you know, and to achieve, to move to a new economic strata, to a new intellectual strata. All of these things are what we hope for. And this is the American dream. That's the sad, I mean, that's the tough part about the whole immigration issue, that, you know, we are the, somebody keeps trying to call me and bug me here, as you can hear, I'm sure. All right, Dave, I think that's our cue to wrap it up for this week. Hey, bless you, man. Have a safe trip. And we will talk to you then when we talk to you. Hopefully we can do one more before the new year.
Yes.
But if not, we want to wish everybody a very, very Merry Christmas and pray everything goes well.
Amen.
Thanks,
have a good
Dave.
week.
Bless
Bye.
you, man. Take care. Bye.
Bye.